Alright, looks like we're good to go, so let's just get into it. Yo, what's up everybody, it's your boy QP Quasi Pro, and we're back again with another video for YouTube. Yes, for YouTube finally, right? So, if you're watching on Twitch and stuff, you're not gonna find this here, right? But, go ahead and swing on by there if you want. I'm just gonna hop right into it. Today, we're gonna be covering one of my favorite deck lists, right? Let's, go ahead and show it real quick. I mean, like, the name that is, right? So, the name is Quasi Lyarc, right? You know, like Lynar Arcanist, and it's the Quasi style Linus Arcanist, right? It's not Linus, Lynar Arcanist. It's a little bit different than what you typically see, right? And I'm gonna go ahead and pop up the deck list right here. The links will be in the description, and I'm gonna explain my little thought process on it, right? So, essentially, Beam Shock, right? It is a very, very strong card in some matches, right? I had it work on Zuchas, right? And we had a really, really good, like, I don't know, a couple rounds, and I don't know, you'll see that it can pull off some cool things. Maybe not in this video, maybe I'll do a follow-up video with more games, right? I plan on doing maybe 1 or 2 videos, depending on how long these videos last, right? But Beam Shock will buff you up, right? The core components are essentially the Albi Sages, right here, right? Along with the Dagger Kiri. And Albi Sages, you know, with the Beam Shock or Holy Immolation on Sojourner, things like that, right? Crazy stuff. Okay. I'll work my way through the deck. So, Beam Shock will lock people down. Magnetize will bring your units to them that typically they will not see coming at all. Sundrop Elixir will heal you up and buff up your minions. All these spells will buff up your Lynar minions. I mean, not your Lynar minions. Your Arcanist minions, right? There aren't that many in the deck, but it's really easy to proc all them and sustain yourself, right? They'll have utility other than use for Lynar minions. I mean, Arcanist minions, I keep saying that. But, okay. So we have Agilhorn Shaman here, Mana Forgers here, and Shiro Puppy Dragons. These are the only 2 drops in the deck, right? And something to think about, right, is essentially that none of these are Lynar minions, right? Lynar minions are so strong as 2 drops, but if you make an entire deck without them, you open up different possibilities, right? And so, let's just continue right here. We got the Sunblooms, the Tempests, you know, just the common good removal / dispel / you know, just answers that you have to people's threats. Divine Bond, a utility card that you can use to just win the game in so many situations, but also clear the board with something like Sojourner. Sojourner is a primary draw in this card, but it also has Sworn Sister Lycian. Both have reasonably good stats to work with Divine Bond, and you can pull off some interesting, you know, kills, combos, things like that, right? Something I typically like to do is Divine Bond to Sojourner to hit somebody, and then if it lives, because, you know, a lot of the time it'll have 3 health or something, it might not be removed right away. It doesn't seem like it's a big threat, but if you are able to Holy Immolate it, you can make it live forever while it draws you cards and just get supreme value, essentially, right? Imagine getting hit by a Sojourner for 6 damage, and then Holy Immolated by it a following turn, or that exact same turn if it's a 7-mana turn, right? You can Divine Bond with the Holy Immolation on that same turn. Draw a card. Do all that, right? Albi Sages here, and Sworn Sister Lycian for a draw, as I said, and Dagger Kiri. Dagger Kiri is the surprise MVP of this game, right? Everybody sees Albi Sage as a very strong Lynar card, but Dagger Kiri is supremely amazing. So we're going to see all this come to play right now. I'm going to take the deck list off the video, and let's hop right into it. A Slug right here, right, is playing a Vitruvian deck, and I'm playing a Lynar deck. Let's just hop right into it, right? So, everything in hand seems reasonably okay. Something I really like to have against a Vitruvian matchup, right, is Sunbloom. Because that essentially drops Dervishes and Paxes at the same time if they happen to open up with Obelisks and, you know, Pax. Or Obelisks and Pax, right? Amara's everything, right? I don't believe I keep the Sundrop Elixir because that takes too much time. But let's hop right into it. I will double up the speed, and we'll see what's going on here. Slug, clearly a veteran player with all these ribbons here, right? I myself, not so much. I don't play enough games as I used to, right? Divine Bond, I feel like I can keep for later. And so we open up with a 2-drop being Shiro Puppy Dragon, right? And so, this is a typical standard play, right? Run up 2 steps, put a 2-drop on the diagonal so that you can ramp to a 4-drop, right? And let's see what he does, right? This is one of the most amazing openings I've seen in my life, right? So you think, oh, okay, you know, I have my 2-drop play, and he's gonna do his 3-mana play, right? Typical, 1 versus 1, you know, laddering, right? It's a Wings Megazord, right there. Followed by another Wings Megazord, right there. And guess what keeps coming, right? A Helmet Megazord, right there. And Helmethor! What? What? 1, 2, 3, 4. Utilizing, I think that's all your mana, right? I don't think you can possibly get one more Helm of Mechazor to do a turn 1 Mechazor, right? At this point, right, a lot of people think, oh, well, he still has to draw one more Mechazor, right? Let's see what he does, right? So I throw out my Sojourner. I think, I'm not going to utilize a lot of cards. I'm just going to try and clear as much as I can. Use Tempest to clear these two right here. I think, oh, okay, well, I mean, he still has to draw a Mechazor. I'm not in the worst shape, right? I cleared most of his minions, preserved my Shiro Puppy Dragon, and I should be A-okay. I have my Sunbloom ready to go on Mechazor as soon as it comes out. I mean, if it does come out, you know, hopefully he puts it all the way in the corner, and I just Sunbloom it, and it takes, you know, forever to kill me, right? And, Slug, being the, you know, very aware player that he is, he puts it within range to where, I don't know, it's still such a huge threat, but it's not super apparent that I can get to it, right? So, typically people like to put it out here, so that they can shoot from afar and prevent ephemerals from getting to it, right? But Slug is aware that Lyarc has access to Sunbloom. There's no point of putting it far away, right? So over here it's good enough. I think maybe... I don't know what would have been a better position exactly, right? Because if I were to run here and summon an ephemeral here, the ephemeral would be able to affect the Mechazor if I had it. But he doesn't exactly want it here, or to... because the Sunbloom would also affect this, right? So that's a very reasonable positioning by him, right? So, for now, I'm just, you know, looking for my one-hit KO combo, the classic Quasi Lyarc combo, you know, the Lyarc Arcanist combo, the Quasi version of it, right? So we dispel that, and we just try and preserve as much as we can. Back up, I'm not really fearful of this thing jumping over here to get Frenzy on this as well as my face, right? So I heal myself because I figure he's going to start coming in soon. I need to preserve my health. I have nothing really much else to do other than just dispel, right? And this is where Beam Shock shows its utility right away. So he runs in. He's not really afraid to trade face. He's got me locked into a corner really well, so it doesn't take long for this Mechazor to get to me. And he actually replenishes his card draw. At this point, I'm thinking, oh man, there's no way. There's no way I win the game, right? But you know what? The lesson of this game is essentially never give up, right? Like, I mean, sure, he played 4 Mechazors on turn 1, and then the 5th one, turn 2, and followed up with the Lyarc the turn after that, right? To replenish card draw, right? Like, look at his hand, right? He has 4 cards in hand. I have like 4 cards in hand, and look at what I developed compared to him. It's completely ridiculous, you know? But, we'll figure something out, right? So we play the LB stage down. And we Beam Shock the Mechazor. The beauty of Beam Shock, right? It's a free, buffed up Albi Sage, and we just roar this and clear. That felt like the easiest solution, right? Or, okay, not roar and clear, my bad. We buff this and clear this. The main point is just to clear, and since roaring this didn't affect how we would kill this, right? If this was going to get dispelled, it was going to get dispelled anyways. This one would have died killing it. It's worth a little of my health to help clear here. And just keep this buff, right? At this point, he has me fully surrounded. I don't have another Beam Shock for Mechazor to come in here, right? He does some damage, actually, to my Albi Sage. And it's a bit of a pain, being that we're locked down right in here. The Holy Immolation is super crucial. Sojourner, I feel that the card draw is not really going to have enough time to develop. It would just draw 1 card at most, probably anyways, right? So I Holy Immolate my Albi Sage that was damaged, which is really important. I roar it again, right? To buff it up even more. And that's all I got. I'm just hoping he doesn't just run here and dispel, or run here and ephemeral. I don't know. He doesn't need to run there to ephemeral, alright? But I do what I can to get away from Mechazor, right? I have to preserve my life for the, you know, the one-hit KO, right? So, right now I have an 8-12 on the board that he knows I can Divine Bond, right? Which is super scary for him, but he has the Amara too. Like, talk about the best possible place every single turn, right? He played... I mean, okay, Bone Swarm was not the best possible card, but Allomancer, that is actually really hard to clear the majority of the time, right? So he had an Allomancer, which was really strong, but before that, the Lyarc was super strong, right? And, I don't know, like, we're running out of cards, we have no more heal, we're at 14 health, he's at 17 health. He's got 2 cards in hand, sure, he's gonna draw 1 more card right after this, though. And so we're essentially at the same card draw, but he just put down an Amara and double body blocked, right? In what case would you be able to win from here, right? He even blocks the Albi Sage from walking over here on its own, but, you know, as we seem to have it, right, this looks like it could be a daily challenge of the day, right? Looks like we have, apparently, lethal, right? So check this out, right? It's really not too hard to see. So you Sunbloom this area right here, and the important thing is that this should have kept on it. This Wings of Mechazor was actually at +1/+1, so it dies. If it did not die, we would lose the game, right? Because were we to hit here after we dispel, that's not the dispel, but okay. Were we to hit the Wings of Mechazor with our general after we dispel this area, right? If it didn't die from the dispel, of course we can hit it because we wouldn't be provoked by Amara. But this running up here can no longer hit his face, right? So it's really important that we dispelled it as well, ran over here, and it's just a matter of magnetizing here. Or, you'll see the play. You'll see the play. The daily challenge play. So simple right after you do that, right? You magnetize the Albi Sage, it gets buffed up even more, you run it forward 2 spaces, you Divine Bond, and it gets so big to 1-hit KO even if he was at full health, right? And that is, one of my favorite games, right? We're calling this, you know, a Duelyst R&R, but I'm gonna rebrand it as the Duelyst MFG series, right? MFG, right? Just, MFG, right? Not so bad, though. Not so bad. And, you know what? Like, we got time for another video. I mean, another game. This video's only been 12 minutes so far, so let's hop into the next one, right? This game is against Frostatic. And, taking a look at this opening, I think we win this one off Dagger Carry. So that last game showcased essentially Albi Sage in this deck, and I believe this one will showcase Dagger Carry, right? It is a very simple game, and honestly, this happens all the time in this deck. I've done it in probably at least half of my games, right? So if you're looking for a cheap deck and you really want to play something fun, this is #1 deck of recommendation. I don't think it's even a meme deck. People consider it a meme deck, but it is, without a doubt, just a good deck, in my opinion. I mean, of course, it doesn't have all the best answers for everything, right? But it's running triple Sunbloom, it's running double Tempest, it's running triple Divine Bond, right? Triple Divine Bond, it doesn't have to be used just for lethal. It can be used to clear minions and stuff, right? It's running triple Holy Immolation, and honestly, it's so cheap. I'll run over the deck list one last time at the end of the video, but let's look at this, right? So he opens up with a single Obelisk in the center, and that's always a versatile play because you never know where it's going to spawn, right? Like, some spawns, they'll hit practically anywhere. I'm confident at this point, though, even if he spawns here or here, where he can reach the Sojourner, he's only going to be able to hit it one time, and I should be able to draw a card and not mill. The problem would be if he were to Dispel and then hit, or if he were to one-hit KO it, and then I just draw a single card. But that's not a huge problem. So we get the best possible spawn. This one doesn't really provide anything for him. It doesn't take any mana. He actually first wishes to draw a card, so he's pretty desperate. That gives me a hint that his hand's pretty bad. I'm pretty happy to see Pax here, right? Pax does get buffed up so it doesn't die to Sojourner in one hit, but I feel here the best option is to play Dagger Carry in the corner and just ramp this way. Allow Pax to die on my face, preserve the health of Sojourner. I don't need to draw immediately. He might be able to make me mill a card, right, with a hit from the General and a hit from the Obelisk, but I don't know. I'm confident that things will end up okay. And I actually get a pretty good turn of events here that I didn't exactly foresee. So it's important that we do not hit Pax, otherwise these dervishes would become active, right? And something that I kind of realized in the process of, oh, Pax is about to hit me, is that if one spawns here, and I see this spawn here, right? Recognize that my Sojourner cannot get hit twice now. I will not mill a card, right? Typically, Wind Dervish can run here to hit here, right? And this General can run here to also hit here. But the problem is, the Wind Dervish needs to die. So if this thing doesn't die, after it hits, it will stay there, and Xerix, or, you know, the General can't walk there if the minion's still alive, right? Same way other way around. If the General goes here to attack, then this minion cannot walk here to attack, right? So, that's a huge problem with why Obelisk decks are kind of restricted, right? People love Ethereal Obelisk, and they love the Fireblaze Obelisk, right? But not so much the Wind Obelisk, because buffing up the defense, or the health of minions, sometimes restricts your plays in this exact way where you can't pile in on your free dervishes, on your free Wind Dervishes, because they'll block each other from attacking what you want them to. So let's see what he does here, right? I don't quite recall, but I remember this game was really smooth, right? It really showcased off why Dagger Carry is a huge problem. Sojourner is also a problem, but I think that if he's just going to run here and hit, he shouldn't do it. He shouldn't give me the card draw. So he actually gives me the Divine Bond. And he also actually has a pretty reasonable play. He has a bunch of 2/5s on the board now, right? And a 0/10 Obelisk that is actually really big and kind of hard to get rid of exactly, right? So, right now, let's see if you guys can see the puzzle. See what the play is, right? Essentially, there's 2 Sunblooms in hand, right? A lot of people would think, oh, I can Sunbloom right here, and I can Sunbloom right here, right? And that would be a reasonable play. If he didn't have lethal, right? So, I go for a little bit of the BM, right? I want to see if I can look for the hardest BM with Sojourner in the world, right? Draw more stuff, right? But I mean, there's really no reason to do it. So, once again, we magnetize, right? Magnetize does not have to synergize with purely LB Sage, right? The thing is, when people see Dagger Carry in the corner, they know it has celerity, right? But they assume, oh, it can only run here, then hit 1 time, right? Even if I were to Divine Bond it right here, it would do like probably 10 damage or 12 damage max with a roar. And I don't have the mana to double Divine Bond, so at max it should probably only do 10 damage to his face. And with all these minions developed, right, he can kind of run away from it, start body blocking or something, and just pile in to kill after it attacks 1 time or something. It's not that big of a deal, right? But the Magnetize pulls it all the way from the corner, right? I roar it 1 time, and I Divine Bond. And just to pause right here, right? If you take a look at this, right? This is a 12 damage Dagger Carry. All it took was 1 Dagger Carry and 1 Divine Bond, right? And you will always have Roar accessible to you. Well, not always, but you will practically always have Roar because it's a Bloodborne spell accessible to you, right? So this Dagger Carry will, with just 1 Divine Bond in hand, right? If you put it in range. But I mean, if you have Divine Bond and Magnetize, which I often do because they're both, all 3 of these cards, Dagger Carry, Divine Bond, and Magnetize are 3 ofs in this deck, right? You'll often get this play, and this is a 24 damage minion, or 24 damage play, right? That no one ever sees coming with the Dagger Carry just somewhere, right? Even here, right? Because the Magnetize pulls it out of nowhere, and at 24 damage, it's almost lethal, right? And usually, I get to use my face as lethal, but in this exact case, Sojourner would have been lethal had he not at least hit me once already, right? So I hit him to draw the card, see if I can get, I don't know, some kind of 0-drop play like a Beam Shock, just to, meme on him a little harder, right? And we hit him twice for the kill, and that is the deck. Once again, I will, display it on the screen just real quick. And, hope you guys had a good time, right? This is, the Duelyst, my favorite games, MFG #1, or Duelyst R&R&R, which is the recap, replay, and reviews, right? But I think I'm going to restrict that series to other people's games, whereas the MFGs are my favorite games. As in, my videos, my games, and all that stuff, right? So, if you like the video, like it. If you want to sub me. If you want to follow me, on Twitch, it's twitch.tv/QuasiPro, all that stuff. QuasiPro YouTube, QuasiPro Twitch. You love it. You want it. Just come get more. And, we'll see you guys next time. It's like a 20-minute video, right? If you guys want, super long streams, I'm definitely there on Twitch. If you guys want more Gauntlet games on YouTube, check me out, I haven't done a YouTube video in a while. I plan on doing more of these MFGs, right? Because they're easy for me to record and stuff like that, right? If you look at this deck, right? This deck costs 3110 Spirit, right? Which sounds like kind of expensive, right? That's like some legendaries and all that, right? But look at the deck, actually, right? There's only 3 epics in the deck. 3. I'm throwing fingers up right now. Can you lower this just a bit, right? There's only 3! There's only 3 epics, and 2 quote-unquote legendaries, but they're Lycians, right? You're gonna get Lycian almost no matter what eventually. So I would consider this a very good budget option deck that also is just super strong! Like, oh my god! Okay, so the main things about the deck is Dagger Carry, right? It's the strongest you get for a, a win condition, I guess, common, right? And LB Sage, one of the strongest cards that you'll want to get. Arcanist decks work anywhere you want. Holy Immolation, you're going to craft 3 of anyways, so honestly, if you already have a liner deck, you probably already have all these components, right? You probably don't need 3,110 Spirit. And, if you're a fresh start new player, right, this is definitely an easy deck to work for. So have fun with it. Show me some decks. Send in some games. If you want to see me add some games, you know, or if you want to be in the Duelyst R&R series, right? Which is where I recap, replay, and review other people's games. Just add me in game at Quasi Pro. Comment in the video and let me know what your in-game name is, because it's not always your YouTube name, and who you're playing against. I'll check it out and maybe I'll show it off. So everybody, have a great time, have a great day. Love you guys. Bye. End the video right now. Boom. Alright, yeah. But end. Where do I go for that? One of these? One of these? I don't know. Okay, alright, bye. Bye.